Welcome back, everybody, to our weekly CBC Sports swimming show. I'm your host, Brittany MacLean Campbell, and it is shaping up to be a fun weekend in the pool, and you know, I'm always the most excited about it. For today's episode, we are chatting hot topics with Kylie Masse, who is breaking down and on the ground at the Pro Swim Series event in Fort Lauderdale. This is the last PSS of 3, and by far the most stacked lineup. Many of the best Canadians, Americans, including a ton of different Canadians we saw in Paris this summer, and other internationals, will take this chance to race long course against high-level competition and before their world trials in June. Then we get the chance to hear from high diver Molly Carlson, who tells us about what it was like to race the Summer McIntosh. And lastly, I got a chance to chat with a now good friend of mine, Danielle Dorris, who's a 2-time Paralympic champ. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Kylie, you came from the pool this morning. I'd love to just start by getting a bit of a vibe check from you. I know my first favorite thing of getting to any meet was just reconnecting, getting to catch up with friends and colleagues alike. So yeah, how's the vibes over there?
So good, Britt. It was so nice to be at the pool this morning. I probably chatted a bit too much. Took a little bit longer than I should have, but that's the beauty of it. And like you said, reconnecting with so many friends and people from all over the place. So the sun is shining. It's a beautiful pool. This is my first time actually at this pool. So I'm really excited to get to racing.
Yeah, and one thing I was just asking you earlier, because this is an outdoor meet and not every meet for a backstroker is enjoyed outside. And so I wanted your quick rundown of how you feel about racing outside as a backstroker.
It's up and down for me. I love it because being outside is so nice, but at the same time, it does cause some issues for backstroke, like you said. So I think over the years, I've learned to love it a bit more and just deal with the repercussions of swimming backstroke outside.
To give everyone else some context, like you're used to swimming with, you look at the ceiling when you're swimming backstroke, so you can see the lines of the ceiling that usually keep you nice and straight. And when you are swimming outside, if it's a sunny day, you can play kind of a pinball across the ropes. And so, like you said, over the years, it takes you some time to navigate it and adjust, but it's kind of a good chance to race and adapt to things and do things differently. So great to hear. Before we kind of go any further, I wanted to introduce our Hot Topics segment, because this week we've kind of built out some of what I'm considering the biggest storylines of this Fort Lauderdale Pro Swim Series. And I'm basically going to read them out, and I'm going to have Kylie react to them, give me some of her thoughts, give me some insights from somebody that's actually at the meet and competing in the meet. And so I'm calling this 4 reasons why you should care about the Pro Swim Series this weekend in Fort Lauderdale. Our first one is going to be McIntosh versus Ledecky, duel in the 400 freestyle. Kylie, this is the first time the two of them are going head-to-head since the Paris Olympic Games, where Titmus was first, Summer McIntosh second, Ledecky third. That's in the 400 freestyle. What are your thoughts about that one?
Awesome. Obviously 2 dominant champions, and to see them go head to head is like an insane race, no matter what the competition is. So, you know, obviously they're both in their own separate preps for their own trials, but to have the opportunity, I think, for themselves to race each other and just know that they're getting good competition will be a really fun race.
And I think what I admire the most about Katie Ledecky is that she always stands up to a challenge. I think it's really easy to go to big meets like this with someone with the experience and caliber that she has and pick some off events. She is swimming her entire program, her best events from the 200 free up to the 1500, and then she's also doing the 400 IM, which is one of her other strongest. And then Summer's dabbling with a few different events. And I'm not saying, you know, they're all off events. Summer McIntosh can do pretty much anything she wants to do, but she's adding a few different. This 400 free is where those two things collide. So this will be the only race they're going head to head in. And arguably at this point in her build, Summer McIntosh is what we consider the favorite. But what I love about Ledecky and McIntosh is they're both really strong in-season swimmers, don't you think?
I agree 100%. You know, they're always going to give their best, no matter what the competition is, whether it's a small kind of age group, nationals or a massive Olympic championships. You know, they're always going to put their best foot forward. And I think that's what I admire most about both of them.
I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased as that was one of my favorite events to swim, but 2 heroes in that race, 2 of the greatest of all time to do the event. They both at one point had the world record in it. So when we talk about matchups you're going to want to watch, that one is definitely one of them. And some are coming off training in, I was going to say Spain. That was you, Kylie. She is coming off training in France. So that'll be fun, too, to just see where she's at, see what she's learned from that experience, and what she's able to do here in Florida, which is great. Okay, number 2. Marshon and Caleb Dressel's first meet of 2025. Kylie, we've talked a lot about how some athletes have taken a bit of a break after the Paris Games. Those two are two examples of athletes that have kind of slowed their way back to competition. What do you think about a return to competition at this time of year, and how, as an athlete, would you approach something like that?
Yeah, I think, you obviously have to start somewhere. And for both of them, that's here. And I think it's amazing. Like, they both had to do what they needed to do. And whether that was not racing for a while and taking a longer break, like, you don't know what they've actually really been doing. So for them to just be here and taking that first step is great, and great for the sport, because they're obviously two insane swimmers, and so awesome to watch them.
Yeah, and Marshon was kind of the hometown hero for Paris. He went and had a ton of pressure on him and then stood up to the challenge. And he's probably had such an emotional roller coaster of 6 months of handling the fact that this newfound fame, probably all the opportunities in the world. So great to see him come back. But I know he said, I just want to get racing out of the way. He doesn't necessarily know what it's going to look like. He admits that there's still some fitness to catch up on. But really good to see him own up to the fact that, I'm just here to race and to give it a try, but there's a lot more still ahead. And for Drestle, maybe potentially somebody that will take advantage of an extended career with the stroke 50s?
Yeah, could be. Obviously, an established sprinter, and to have that opportunity, and for it to be a home Olympics for him as well, it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to do that.
I'm expecting a few comebacks as well, now that we've seen the announcement of the 50 stroke of a couple Americans that we may have counted out over the last couple of years that decide, I want to go potentially to LA and I want to start training for this. Number 3, and this one's a little close to home for you, Kylie, which is why I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. Summer McIntosh and Regan Smith go head-to-head in the 200 backstroke. Now, there's been a lot of comment on, is Summer McIntosh swimming off events, or is she just adding to her program? Now, you are the bronze medalist at the most recent Olympics in the 200 backstroke, an event you know very well, and Regan Smith is an athlete that you've raced quite a lot. What do you think of this matchup, and who is your favorite going into this 200 backstroke?
I think iron sharpens iron, and to have such great competition will only push both of them. Regan, obviously an insane backstroker, and someone, like you said, who I've competed with for a number of years. And Summer has a beautiful backstroke that obviously helps her immensely in her IMs. And I think, 2 years ago, Summer was going 2:07. So I can only imagine that she's going to be able to put up a fire time here, and to watch them go head to head, it will be exciting. I'll definitely be watching, and glad I'm not in it right now.
Again, you're used to racing, Regan. I think with Summer coming into the mix here, we talked about it at Short Course Worlds a little bit, that Summer was starting her hand at the 200 backstroke, saying she really enjoys the event. And then we really teed it up, and then she was visibly disappointed that she wasn't able to kind of keep up with Regan Smith in that race. Regan broke the world record. She's obviously kind of in top form. But those are two names. We talked about how Summer and Ledecky are both pretty good at swimming in season fast. Regan Smith is also one of those athletes that kind of comes to a pro swim series like this and goes quite fast.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think it only bodes well for a great race. And it'll be exciting to see what Summer can do. And I hope she kind of just takes on the event, and, with a positive attitude, which I'm sure she will, and just hopes to have fun with it.
Great stuff. So we're going to go to our final one, and this is the Canadian women's breaststroke preview for trials. To me, I think between Angus, Lepage, and Branton, we have 3 women's breaststrokers, specifically in the 100 breaststroke, but 3 women's breaststrokers for Team Canada that are separated by 8/100ths of a second. Now, Kylie, going to any national team trials, whether it's World Championship trials, Commonwealth Games trials, or the Olympic trials, only 2 athletes from every country can go. So tell me kind of about what a meet like this would do for you as an athlete before trials when the competition is that close.
There's definitely a balance that has to be found. I think knowing that you're competing against these people that you're going to then be competing against for those spots is great, because it's going to hopefully fire you up and bring out the best in you. But at the same time, I think if it doesn't go as well as you hope, it's important to kind of have that perspective that this is where I'm at in my training, this is where I'm at now, and I need to use that as fuel to prep, a little bit better or differently leading into those trials.
Yeah, and I think any race experience is valuable, whether you learn from it or you're pretty happy with it. But I would say this is more even of a mental hurdle than it is a physical one, because coming to a meet like this and not letting your competitors overwhelm you necessarily, but kind of using it as a stepping stone is key. So that's why we're going to keep an eye on as Canadian fans, because that women's breaststroke battle, we've continued to chat about how that spot has been open for the taking. And last year, of course, you know, it was so cool to watch Sophie Angus take it over, but there's going to be a constant battle and kind of a nipping at her toes for the years to come. So really fun to see. Kylie, before we let you go, I did want to ask you to tell me one event you're most excited to watch and one event you're most excited to race.
The event I'm most excited to watch would probably be the girls 100 free. I feel like it's always an exciting sprint event, and you know, there are a lot of dominant freestyle racers here at this meet, so I think it's going to be a good one. And the event I'm most excited to swim is the 50 backstroke, and so just kind of see where I'm at and hopefully build off of that over the next couple of meets, like I said.
Get your money, man. Life goes on.
Hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for today.
Looking forward to watching that event evolve and everyone to keep getting faster. Kylie, you're racing soon, so we'll let you go, but we thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy the Florida sunshine, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Bye, Britt.
Always grateful to hear from Kylie, especially when she's on meet mode. But before we moved on from this Fort Lauderdale Pro Swim Series, I have to talk about Katie Ledecky's opening night 1500 freestyle. This was exceptional. The second fastest time ever in history, 15:24:51. To put that into context, over 30 seconds faster than I've ever been. But it was the second fastest time ever, the fastest she's been since 2018. And to put into perspective, she also has a top 22 times in history. Yes, this means it was faster than she went to win the gold medal at the Paralympics this past summer. It also means that she's shaping up for quite an exciting weekend, which makes this duel between Summer McIntosh and Katie Ledecky something that we're going to need to tune into in the 400 freestyle. But congratulations, Katie Ledecky. You were already the GOAT. But to do that time at this point of the season, I think the biggest note I wanted to make is that we talked with Byron a little bit about how athletes prepare for a meet and that light taper going into a Pro Swim Series event. And Katie Ledecky normally has to wait till about day 6, day 5 to be able to swim this 1500 at a big international meet. But here she got to do it night 1. She could come out punching. And I hope this gears us up for what is to be seen for her this weekend. Okay, well, somebody else that got a chance to race Summer McIntosh, we're going to hear from Molly Carlson.
We're here with the swimming queen, Summer McIntosh, 3-time Olympic champion, and today I'm going to attempt to race her.
I think you might beat me, honestly.
She's being so dramatic.
I have been dreaming of racing Summer forever. Not like I'm a swimmer at all. We're just both in the water every day. And we ended up FaceTiming, and I said, what are the odds I can come to your pool down in Florida and race you? She's like, if you beat me, I'm quitting. I was like, Summer, I'm never gonna beat you. Just let me have some fun. And she's like, of course. So we ended up going down, and she's such an icon. She doesn't even know it. Like, she's so humble.
Is Summer McIntosh getting nervous?
She also doesn't use a chamois.
Excuse you.
I'm getting nervous. What the hell?
Don't be nervous. Just try your best.
And she just truly acts like she's just a friend and doesn't even realize she's one of the biggest superstars in the world. And I think that's really cool. And it's just fun to hang out with her. And the swimming went absolutely terrible. I couldn't even finish my 50 fly. And I get out, and she's so subtle. She's like, yeah, my favorite's the 200. And I'm like, okay, we get it. You're a superstar. But yeah, it was just so lovely to see her in her element. And I can't wait to see her at World Championships this summer and bring her up to my element. I think that'll be funny.
Always so great to hear from Molly, and I do really hope those two get a chance to jump off the high dive together in Singapore this summer. Okay, last but not least, I'm about to get the chance to chat with 2-time Paralympic champ in the S750 fly, the world record holder. Please welcome Danielle Dorris. Danny, it's so good to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm having a lovely morning after swimming at 6 in the morning, but other than that, it's going great. How are you?
I am good. It is so great. I love catching up. It's been a bit since I've gotten the chance to see you. I don't think I've seen you since the Paralympics. Hopefully I'll see you in Victoria at trials coming up soon. I really wanted to talk to you about the big event you swam at this weekend. That was the Para Swimming World Series in Indianapolis. It is similar to what we'd compare kind of that Pro Swim Series on the Olympic discipline, where there's different stops all over the world. Tell me about your decision to attend the event and how the meet went.
My big decision that I had with my coach in regards to going there versus a meet in Canada would have been the fact that it is a para event, meaning I would race with my peers and who I would be racing against usually only one time a year, to being able to race with them another time, which is really fun, getting to see like all my friends from everywhere else. But that's majority of the reason why we choose to at least go to one World Series in a year. But no, it was a lot of fun. I think I performed as well as I was going to perform, and I was really happy because it's kind of like a little checkpoint before going to trials. It was also the first time I swam 50 fly long course since Paris, which was really exciting. And I swam a time that I'm really happy with and that my coach is really happy with. And he was like, "This is good." I was like, "Yes, I agree."
I wanted to ask you about that level of experience, because you were the youngest Canadian Paralympic female, I believe, swimmer ever when you're competing at 13 years old in Rio. And then, now you've since been to 2 Paralympic Games. You came into this last one as the reigning champion in the 50 fly. You're the world record holder in the event. How has that experience really guided your confidence? You said going into this, you should likely be the favorite, but how do you continue to push the barriers and get faster and to try to get like that new world record time every time you're racing?
It's what you mentioned. It's the fact that I don't view it as a world record anymore. I view it as a best time. So it's like I'm trying to beat myself in terms, for the 50 fly at least. Like I just want to be better than the last time I swam it. I got close to beating it at trials last year where I matched my world record, which was insane. I'm like, I don't know how you match a time. I have shifted my mentality of like, I have other events that I can focus on as well. And because I'm focusing on those other events, it'll help that 50 fly be better. And hopefully this summer maybe go a best time, which would equal another world record, which would be hella cool to do in Singapore, because Singapore is pretty cool, and I'm really excited to go there, pending I make the team. But I think it'll be very fun, and I think that's mostly how I view my swimming at this point, is just being a better version of myself.
That's the best approach I can think of. So kudos to you and the maturity you've had since the beginning of your career to have that outlook. But you're right, you're setting your own standards. A world record really is just a best time, and you're pushing that pace. And I have been to Singapore once for swimming only, and it was stunning. So really looking forward to you hopefully getting the chance to go. We'll keep an eye out for that at trials coming up in just over a month, which is great. I'm looking forward to seeing you then and how you do. I wanted to quickly ask you about classification, because these World Series events are a really big standard for classification. Can you tell me about the process of getting classified, and for certain athletes, their need to continue getting classified?
My case for classification is it's not a simple process, but it's simpler than most, because I only have the limb deficiency. Nothing about that is ever going to change. But the way classification works is you do a bench test where they, in my case, measure every single limb of my body, my height. It's a lot of measuring tapes, and I brought my x-rays in to be able to show them, like, my elbows don't function. They will not move. They do not bend. Because a lot of the times I would get points added for having elbows when elbows don't do anything for me. They just sit there and look pretty, and they don't move. But in the water, it would look like they would be bending, but they don't. And then after that, you do a water test where they test your floating skills, your sculling. Sculling is a fun one for me because I don't move. And then in the competition, they usually have one race that they watch to see how you race. So you're supposed to actually try in the race. Once that's done, they'll either confirm the number that they had given you before the race, or they'll change it, or worst case scenario, they look at you race, they're like, okay, we need to do another water test, we need to redo everything, then they do everything again, and then they watch another race, and then they're like, oh, sorry, we can't actually give you a classification because we can't fairly give you a number. I am fortunate enough to not have to go through that because, again, this will never change. Classification can definitely be a very emotional process for a lot of people, and once you get your classification, it becomes a part of your identity. It can be really heartbreaking if you go up or down, because going up means, oh no, I'm now competing against people who are faster than me when I would be in a different classification. Or you go down, and that because whatever you have going on has gotten worse. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of emotions can go in classification. So it's a very lengthy process that I'm very happy I don't have to do anymore. And I really hope the classification rule book does not change until I am done swimming.
Yeah, well, I think it's such good context. So thank you for explaining that, because that's one thing I learned in the last few years about that process. I've obviously it sounds jarring and daunting and not fun. So I think it's important that people understand that context. So thank you for that. We're going to close with a fun segment called No Cap. And you are a Gen Z, which is great because I love when I have a Gen Z that knows exactly what no cap means. We're asking all our guests to be honest and give us their, I guess, as genuine as possible answer to one of my questions. I'm going to pull out the cap. And there were a few that I tossed in here this morning because I was like, I'm not going to possibly be able to get through what I want to with Danny. Okay. So this one I added this morning. I've been trying to find the results this weekend. And so I wanted your opinion. It's not always easy to access all the news about Paralympic swimming, the key stats, everything. So I wondered, can you tell me about the importance of coverage in your sport and what needs improvement?
I think what needs to happen is similar to, say, like on the Olympic side, when they're at the equivalent of a World Series for us, they are getting coverage in terms of Swimming Canada posting their results. We don't see that. We get one post maybe of them telling us that, oh, we're at this competition, and that's it. Again, it's come a long way in terms of like us getting more recognition. And I think, in my opinion, I've always said this, Paralympic sports in general / Paralympic swimming is a lot cooler because you're seeing so many different things from so many different people. It's not all copy paste. I don't like saying, I know you're an Olympic swimmer and everything, but Paralympic swimming, you see so many different things happening all at once for one single event. It's just super cool. And I feel like people need to see that more. And so my hope is that we just start getting the same coverage in terms of like on Instagram, or like maybe sending like a social media person with us, like occasionally. Like it's just like, it needs to become more of like an equal thing.
And I think that's such good reminders, and thank you for that, because I know it takes quite a lot of honesty, that there has been strides taken, but there's also still a lot of work to be done. And I know both myself and a lot of different people individually can hold ourselves accountable to making change in that space as well. And I'm honored for you to take the time to chat with me today. You're the best in your craft. You're a world record holder, one of the most accomplished Paralympic swimmers in the game. And I am so grateful for the chance to chat with you. And I cannot wait to see you rip up the pool in just over a month's time in Victoria. Danielle, it's been a pleasure. Oh no, we're friends now. Danny, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on. This does end our episode today. Make sure you're subscribing and pressing all the buttons, make sure you put in questions for No Cap. We would love to hear from you of what you're interested in hearing from. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Make sure you're subscribing, you're liking, you're commenting. And we still don't have a name for the show, so put those in the comments and let us know what you think it should be called.